A true movie, for sure. The best MCU film since Wakanda Forever. And by far the greatest thing so far in Phase 5. It's the best Marvel thing since the last Marvel thing, which Wakanda Forever was.
So exciting.
And it's the first movie in Phase 5, so of course it's going to be good. Jeez.
Nerdrotic.com.
What is there to say? Well, actually, okay, on the positive side, the first third of the movie is actually kind of entertaining. It's kind of entertaining. You see Scott Lang, he's sort of a celebrity now. He's ditched all of his friends from his criminal past. He wrote like this autobiography that you see him reading it, which is actually, oddly enough, that is a real book that's coming out. It's a fake autobiography of Scott Lang. It's actually on, you can find it on Amazon, which I think is kind of funny. So it starts off kind of fun, and he's trying to establish this relationship with his daughter, Cassie, reestablish, because there was missed time. And he has regrets about that. And you think that that's what the movie is going to be about. The trailer really implies that relationship will be a thread throughout the movie. It's actually not.
Yeah.
And the quantum realm, when you first see it, is like, oh, this is kind of interesting. It's a little different. It's all volume and green screen, but which we've gotten so used to. There's something distancing and dehumanizing about it. It doesn't feel real because we know it's not real, and it really doesn't look real. And also, like, this is just a random collection of people that fell into the quantum realm on accident. That's what it is. It's not really clear what how things are working. And there's some resistance to what? Kang and his army.
Wait, there's like a group of people that are also shrunk, and there's a resistance down there.
Yeah, it's the quantum realm Antifa. Is basically what it is.
Cringe. Like they had to force that into the movie.
Well, no,
like only Ant-Man people could go down there, but now they have to have like a group of other people that also shrink down. Like what?
Yeah, it's not made clear. Like everyone got there on accident, apparently. Good. But I will say also another positive: Michelle Pfeiffer is great in the movie. She's just unexpectedly very good. Okay, where it falls apart.
But is it her movie? Like, is she the main thing in it?
No, it's definitely not. It's definitely Ant-Man's movie, but it's the Ant-Man family movie is kind of what it is. It's almost like Ant Family. So it feels very Disney Plus, and nothing bad's gonna happen to anybody. In the end, the thing that stood out to me that was very bizarre was a thread of mentions of types of political dogma. One in the resistance, and very overtly there is a line spoken by Michael Douglas talking about how ants are socialists and socialism is how they function, because he's all about the ants. Hank Pym, for no reason, he says this line. Basically the virtues of socialism, because look how happy ants are, and they all work together.
Ants leave each other to die. They eat each other.
Yeah.
And they're a hive mind.
Yeah. So
yes, it's socialism. I totally agree.
Because the movie would go like, all right, okay, I guess I'm on board for this, fine. And then there would be something where it felt like someone from Disney standing next to Peyton Reed as he's making this movie saying, you got to do this, you got to do that. And then the movie goes off the rails. I felt so disengaged because we know that because that Kang is going to appear in all these other movies, that what's the point, And other people have pointed out, which is accurate, is that this doesn't even feel like a third Ant-Man movie. It's just chapter 1 of Phase 5, which is another Marvel movie. I think the thing that does, where the movie does work is Paul Rudd is likable as Ant-Man, but I always saw Ant-Man as kind of a side character. He was the comic relief. Yeah, you get your own movie, but even the last movie, Ant-Man and the Wasp, opened 87 million opening weekend and did respectable, right? The first Ant-Man was around 56 million, I want to say. I don't know if this will do much better than that. Ultimately, how I felt about it is that I just was apathy. Like, I really disliked Wakanda Forever. There were things about that movie that I was pissed off about, offended by, annoyed by. That movie is blatantly MCU. The way they handled Namor, my least favorite Marvel movie of Phase 4, is that movie Wakanda Forever. That was just bad on so many levels.
That's saying a lot, because Phase 4 was really bad.
Yeah, so I would say this is the least bad. It is a Marvel fatigue because we kind of see through the formula. Like, we see it now.
I was feeling the fatigue in Phase 3. Before Endgame and all that stuff, Infinity War, I was already like, I'm just kind of not feeling the Marvel brand, that's kind of cookie cutter movies, and that's whenever it was still good. You know, and now it's been bad for like 4 years. Like, I don't know if I give a crap anymore.
Yeah, I mean, they've added this element of Kang, and Jonathan Majors is very good. It's a different Kang than the Kang we saw in Loki. Definitely a different Kang.
Well, there's multiple Kangs. So they've retconned Kang so much as a villain that he's like Rama Tut, Iron Lad, a bunch of Kangs. So what was
He
that?
could be anything they want him to be.
Yeah. And he even mentions that, have I killed you before, in the trailer? And he who remains, if you didn't see the end of Loki, is a variant of Kang. So what was the post-credit scene, Chris?
So the post-credit sequence is, they've, quote, defeated Kang, right? Which, no surprise. And you see a stadium filled with thousands of different types of Kangs. Thousands. And so they may have defeated the one, but there are a lot more out there. And that's it. It's the first, and then there's another post-credit scene that basically connects to Loki. It's Loki and Owen Wilson's character, and they're watching sort of an old-timey version of Kang give a speech. Yeah.
That's it. So it's leading into Loki. So their post-credit scenes are leading into streaming shows, and that's why you were telling me this is just another Disney Plus movie.
Yeah, it feels like another Disney Plus show. It's just the way I feel about it is I just feel apathy because I thought Endgame, oh wait, that's great. That's the capper. We're good. Are we ever going to reach those heights? No. The answer to that clearly is no.
No.
Phase 4 has been so middling, going nowhere. I feel like they felt rushed to we got to get Kang. We got to get to Kang. Just introduce the big bad.
They're making the same mistakes that WB made doing the Justice League.
What I think is this movie will do well opening weekend. My buddy Eric Weber says it's going to do 125 opening weekend. I don't know if it will, but it'll drop quick. And there's no way this thing is it's not going to get to $1 billion for sure. There's just no way.
Not a chance. The last one didn't get even close.
I'm just tired of these movies that look like we're going to film it against a green screen. We're filming it in the volume, and people were some of the early reviews were talking about how great the Quantum realm was. I thought it was just like dirty and brown, like a junkyard. It wasn't.
That's how the trailer looks. It just looks like
it's like
random. There's something about Jack Kirby's art that it's trying to do, but it does it completely horribly. Like Jack Kirby's art, he has that crackle, it's pop. There's like, you could see the detail in these spaces, and they're trying to do that with this color, but they just can't get anywhere close to that. It just looks like mud.
It does look like mud, and the muddiness of it is a cheat. That's why you see so much inclement weather in a lot of digital spectaculars, because it's a cheat for bad CGI. That's what it is. That's why, like the first Godzilla movie, the newer one, right, in the MonsterVerse, it rained all the time because it was a cheat to, go low budget on CGI. That is a cheat. So the Quantum Realm just looked muddy and kind of ugly. And then the other thing is there's no consistent design with like who's there. There's like this woman who's the leader of the resistance, okay? And she's
of course there's a woman who's the leader of the resistance. All women lead resistances now in Hollywood.
Yeah, exactly. So that she's there. But then there's like
TikTok
all these sort of
videos in their kitchen leading a resistance. I'm getting in trouble for that.
No. There's literally a creature that is a head of broccoli with eyes. It looks stupid. So what it looks like, I'm trying to explain this in the best way. It's like there's no consistent look. So, like how Star Wars has a look, right? Certain movies, the Road Warrior film, the Mad Max movies have a look, right? This looks like someone had a toy box where they threw in all these toys from different, IPs, all different. It's like, oh, here's my Star Trek toys, my Star Wars toys, my Flash Gordon toys, my other. Then they just threw them in a box because nothing, there's no consistency.
No design logic.
No design logic. That's exactly right. So I'm like, okay, is the design logic that there's no design logic? And David Dastmalchian, who gets a single card billing at the end of the movie, and I'm a fan of David Dastmalchian, by the way. I've known him for years. He's that guy. That guy was homeless. He's homeless and a heroin addict, and built himself up, got himself cast in a really memorable role in The Dark Knight, and then he just pops up in everything. So he's become like one of those noticeable.
He's got a
character
great
actors.
story. You got to listen to him talk about his story. It's really good.
Yeah,
Real
it's
quick,
amazing.
Speaking of
So-
stories, yeah, it is. He's a little weird, but I mean, being
Everyone
homeless
in Hollywood
can-
is weird. So
Ant-
David
Ant-Man-
plays like a germ. He plays like a germ who's got a couple scenes. It's weird that they just gave him like such a big billing. He actually played a character on screen named Kurt, who was the Russian in the crime group with what's his name, Michael. Mike, and by the way, no Michael.
Do they
Pena.
come back at all?
No, zero.
No?
And can you
Ah, come
imagine
on.
though him coming back now? The criticism that people would level, it's like, oh, he's a stereotype. He's a Latino.
He was the
stereotype.
best, like legit the best part of those movies. Like every time he had his like
Comic relief.
the funny scene, like he was great.
Yeah, no, he was great. Not in the film at all.
Wow,
At
okay.
all. So you're going to be hopeful at the beginning. You're going to think, oh, I'm kind of with this. This is good. We know Kang is coming. This is entertaining because there are parts of it that are fun. I'm not, not going to lie. They're like parts of, okay, that was fun. But as it is, it just sort of leads to like it's meaningless.
Kevin Feige clearly doesn't care anymore, because if he did, he would have just made this part of Phase 4 again and not wanted to start Phase 5. But he's so desperate to get things going because he knows outside of Guardians, which is still iffy, it's going to be a bad year theatrically for Marvel. And it just is. That's an objective truth. Outside of Guardians, you have the Marvels and this movie. Okay, so they're like, we're gonna start phase, because they needed something. So like, let's say we're starting Phase 5, and that's all it was. That's their plan for Phase 5. Is we're gonna say we're starting it.
Oh, I didn't even tell you about M.O.D.O.K, Gary.
Oh, right.
God.
It is
M.O.D.O.K.
so bad. The way M.O.D.O.K is handled is he's a joke in the movie. First of all, didn't take it seriously. It's played off as ridiculous. He puts on that little mask so he looks menacing, but out of the mask, it's the guy who was the villain in the first Ant-Man movie, right?
Really?
Oh, so he shrunk and became M.O.D.O.K?
He shrunk and became M.O.D.O.K. It's what was the name of the character? I know.
Well, it's Yellow Jacket. He was Yellow
Yeah.
Jacket. I
Yeah.
forgot his name.
Yeah, but it is played as a gag. Oh my God, Gary!
That's the kind of villain where you think it's a gag, and what you do is you have M.O.D.O.K murder a lot of people, like horribly,
Yeah.
cruelly, coldly murder, because that's what M.O.D.O.K is made for. No, they just clown him. Okay, well then, how are you going to take Galactus seriously?
Well, yeah, exactly.
He's a giant purple guy.
I don't know, man.
You can't.
That's because
can't.
they don't take comic books seriously.
They
They
don't.
think
Yeah.
comic books are silly. In the beginning, it felt like they actually respected comic books. It took them seriously. They had a guy with a Red Skull head, and they took him seriously because the comic books took him seriously, and the people that read those comic books took them seriously. Now, they don't. They
The Red
see it as
Skull's-
silly nerd stuff.
This thing will probably be forgotten pretty quick. Pretty
Yes.
quick.
Yeah, that's
Um,
the thing. It's just like, there's just not much to talk about, But M.O.D.O.K, yeah, they did M.O.D.O.K dirty. Do you remember Thumb Wars?
Yes.
Yeah.
Steve Odekirk's Thumb Wars, or they also made Thumbtanic. That's what M.O.D.O.K reminded me of. I'm watching it going, why does this seem so familiar? The way that they smushed his face, and it's like, because it looks like that Thumb War movie.
Yeah, I saw the image of it, and wow.
Yeah.
Oh my God. There are movies that were made 15 years ago that look better.
Nerdrotic.com. Please subscribe.
Hey, if you like what we do here at Nerdrotic Daily, please like, share, and subscribe. And if you could do that with your favorite YouTuber as well, I'm sure they would appreciate it as much as I do.